Hello everyone, and thank you for taking time out of your busy day to attend our Microsoft Office 365 Immersion Experience webinar. Thank you as well to our presenters, Ashish Narang, Business Development Manager, Microsoft Cloud Services, who will be demonstrating many of the features and benefits of Office 365, Trent Swartz, Director of Migration Services, SkyKick. Trent will be demonstrating just how easy migrating your email to the cloud can be. My name is Bill King. I am the VP of Sales here at DirectDial.com. Okay, we have a lot of material to cover in only an hour. However, for those of you that aren't all that familiar with DirectDial.com, I would like to take a moment to introduce ourselves. In the late 90s, DirectDial.com was launched with the idea that business would use the internet to source IT infrastructure. At the time, this represented a fundamental change in IT procurement. Fast forward 15 years later, and I'm sure everybody's happy I didn't spend too much time in the 90s, this has proven to be true. On a typical day, DirectDial.com will ship products to our clients in every province and territory in Canada. Our account management team has cultivated relationships with businesses from virtually all verticals, government at the municipal, provincial, and federal levels, education from preschool through most of our major universities. Many healthcare organizations procure their IT product from DirectDial.com. I believe the registration for this event is a reflection of this. It is a cross-section of the corporate and public sector landscape of Canada. I find this very exciting, as I believe it displays a willingness to investigate emerging technologies to understand not only how these tools can improve efficiency, but how they can transform the way that we work, enabling us to take more control of when, where, and how we work. Today we find ourselves in the midst of what many view as another fundamental shift in IT procurement, as many businesses push elements of their IT infrastructure to the cloud. DirectDial.com and our account management team will continue to provide our clients with on-premise solutions. Through Direct Cloud, we will also support many of our traditional vendors' cloud offerings as they become available. Additionally, Direct Cloud will introduce new cloud vendors and cloud solutions that address specific business needs, increasing efficiencies and enabling organizations to work the way they want to work. Moving forward, I hope you will work with our account management team, Direct Cloud, and our vendor partners with the planning, deployment, and management of your cloud strategy. I would like to bring to your attention our attendee SkyKick email migration special. You see there on the screen. We'll have more information on that towards the end of the presentation. At this point, I would like to introduce Ashish, who will do his presentation on Office 365. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll be talking a little slowly at this point in time because there might be a bit of a lag between my screen refreshes. Most of you should be able to see my Outlook client at this point in time. And this Outlook client is actually a part of the Office Pro Plus that comes with Office 365, so it's a fully locally installed copy that I have here. A quick little tips. I start my demos with Outlook only because I start my day with my emails. So the first thing I want to do when I come in the morning is, triage my emails, see what are the action items I need to get back to. So a good, just a quick little tip, you can actually use quick steps on the top with Outlook 2010, and you can configure them to whatever you want it to be. So for me, the practice is whatever, and I come in the morning, I don't have time to respond back to this email, so I'll just come in and have a rule created for zero inbox. So it will just put my emails in an inbox that I need to zero out by the end of the day, and then whenever I'm done responding to those, I can just come back here and say, well, I'm done with that, so it'll move it back to my inbox. So just a quick little tip. It's very handy if you're managing multiple mailboxes as a team, so it can just help you move around stuff much quicker and much more accurately. The biggest improvement that I've seen with Exchange in Outlook 2010 has been search and indexing, and then I'll take you through that at this point in time. So once I click on my search bar here on the top, you would see a whole slew of options open up on the ribbon on the top relating to my search. So let's say I want to find an email that is from, so I'm going to use the ribbon indicators or the filters here. So I'm going to search an email from Karen. You might see a lag since it's an online meeting, but this pretty much instantaneously is filtering my emails down that are from Karen. I still didn't find what I'm looking for, so I'm going to say it has attachments. So now it's going to filter down emails instantaneously that have attachments on it. And since I still didn't find what I'm looking for, I will type the word voice. So just when I hit that, it will bring me to this email right here. I'll just give it a quick second to load. Okay, so this email here is an actual voicemail that I received to my Exchange account. So with Exchange plans within Office 365, you can use them as your voicemail system, so you can redirect your IPPBX to send voicemails to Exchange in the cloud. What it does for you is send you the voicemail with a compressed voice file on it. Also does a speech-to-text translation. It will also go through your contact books for that number and give you the name of that person. So it's a really handy feature where you can be in a meeting and you can actually read your voicemail rather than waiting for yourself to get back to the office and getting to your voicemail at your desk. So with that, let me just quickly pick that email here. So I've got this email that I have opened up here. I just want to quickly talk about a few sending options. If you're looking for rights management or to be able to say do not forward or mark email as confidential, that is available today. You can integrate a rights management server with that today. Now, this email thread that I have, as you can see, I've got a few attendees, and once I hover over them and get a contact card, and a lot of them actually have an indicator which is green for most of them, and that is your presence or your heartbeat, as we call it in the system, as telling me that you're online. And that's been broadcasted to a link within my Outlook client, and this will basically broadcast it anywhere in my Office client, in my SharePoint client, anywhere. So it's a neat little indicator, tells you that who's online, so you can choose the best way to contact that person. So at this point in time, I can either email Alan or instant message Alan, or just call Alan at his desktop using link. So all those options are available. Now, for example, we've been going through, as a team, going through a lot of email exchanges, and we want to sync up for a meeting at this point in time. So my first click was I opened up this meeting. And second click, what I'm going to do is click on the meeting icon right here on the top. And just wait for the screen to refresh real quick. Okay, so just with 2 clicks here, what you would see is now I was able to organize a meeting, and it loads all the attendees that are supposed to be on it, have the email trail down at the bottom, so they know exactly what the meeting is all about. At the bottom right corner, and this is going live to my Exchange in the cloud through a 3G network, which is not the best network that I'm doing a demo on right now. So it's going through my 3G router to my Exchange and telling me what the best time for the team to sync is. So all those attendees on there, it's going through the very busy information. And it also comes back with a mail tip on the top and tells me that these 2 folks, so Alan and Jeff, are out of the office. So, pretty instantaneously, it's giving me all those tips. Now, I can have mail tips around confidential emails or maybe credit card information. And with the 2013 release, it becomes really straightforward to block, content to be sent out, such as credit card information, Canadian password numbers, and stuff like that. So mail tips can be around reply alls and all that. Now, since I want Alan and Jeff on the meeting, what I can actually do is give them a link meeting invite by clicking this button, so they can now join the meeting through the link invite. So that was calendaring and very busy information in Exchange. Let me just quickly move back here and talk a little bit about the Outlook web app. 1 second. Okay, so you can see here, what I'm logged in right now is my Outlook web app. So within Exchange, you can also have users log into Outlook web app. A couple of things I like about it is that you have presence information that carries you here as well, so you can see who's online and who's not. I can have multiple mailboxes added to my Outlook web app profile as well. So I can open up, any other, mailboxes that I'm the owner or have permissions for, and I can also communicate or through instant messaging from within my web app. So if I happen to be at a remote site, I don't have my computer on me, I can log in through a web browser, and I can do my instant messaging, emails, calendaring, and all that stuff. So with that, I'm going to move on to Link real quick, and so here is my link client. I'll just give it another second to make sure the screen refreshes here. Okay, so here's my link client, and as you can see, it's showing me people who are online in my contact list and anybody who's busy. And just a heads up, I can add contacts from outside my organization as well. So, for example, my partners that I work with or other organizations that are using Link, I can add them. We can federate, so we can see who's online and who's not, and get work done much quicker and much faster. I can use Link on my mobile devices if I'm a paying user for that service. So if I have Link license, I can use it on my iPad, my Android device, my Windows phone, or my iPhone. So all of those are fully supported. It's just pretty straightforward as a messenger. You can have your status up here. You can set your location, which is pretty handy if you are working remotely or work from home. As soon as you log back into the wireless network, it knows that you're in the office or at home, so it lets everybody know that you might be in a different location. If you're in the London office, let's say, and just the status to your London office, people can actually come and meet you instead of just trying to find you on Link or on emails. So I can search for people within my organization by just typing in the name, and it will do a search for that. So let me actually start an instant messaging conversation here. So I can actually click on a person, or I can drag a few people into a conversation if I want to. And I can have a simple, straightforward instant messaging conversation in Link. If I am working with an audience that that want to be addressed in another language, so have it set to Finnish. I can have real-time translations going out, and once they type back, it will be translated back in English for me in real time. Just a handy little option if you want to use that. And you can choose from a slew of different languages for incoming and outgoing sessions. So, so all these options are here. I think I have a question here in my chat here. Does Link support BlackBerry? Link in the cloud, no, unfortunately, BlackBerry is invested into the BBM platform, so they do not support Link in the cloud. So I can have instant messaging. Now I can actually escalate this to a call as well. If I click the call option, at that point in time, it will initiate a PC-to-PC audio call with the participants here, or I can start off a video call and host a video conference from right here. Now, earlier what I showed you, creating the Link meeting invite, with this Link Online plan, you just need one license to initiate a meeting and send it out to your customers or your attendees, and you can have up to about 1,000 people on the call with no license. So that's the meeting size limit for Link if you're looking to host external meetings. And then some sharing options, so you can share your desktop as I'm doing right now on a different meeting. I can share my program, do a whiteboarding session, invite people on the fly. So I can go in and invite people on the fly in the meeting, so I can invite via email or phone number and just quickly make them a part of the conversation. Let me just close this down here. So everything that we do in Link here is also saved and fully indexed and searchable in Outlook under this folder for conversation history. So if you as an admin want to hold on, or a user want to refer back to your conversations in Link, in the conversation history folder, as soon as you close the chat, it saves up all the conversation for you in that folder, and it's fully indexed and searchable for you. So once again, just to kind of end off at Link, you can have mobile device installs with no additional users. It's a per user licensing model, so you pay for one user and you basically can have any device, so you can be logged into any devices as you want. You can federate with external organizations and add them as contacts. You can add Skype or Windows Live contacts or any public IM contacts as well. So with that, we'll be getting into a quick overview on SharePoint. Let's give it a second for my browser to load here. Okay, so I got a question about browsers. Why can I not view it on my BlackBerry Z10? The current list of supported browsers for service is Chrome, Firefox, IE, and Safari. BlackBerry browsers are not fully supported since it's a new release. So we might see some support in the next few months or weeks. So in the SharePoint in the SharePoint demo now here, as you can see, I've got just a plain out-of-the-box SharePoint website here. It's an intranet portal where the teams can collaborate. I'll just show you some document management options here. So let me just go to Sales, and so as you can see here, I've got some graphs that I have presented here, which is an example of data visualizations being shared across the organization for any projects, any KPI tracking, or maybe you want to share progress on projects with your customers. So all that can be done using SharePoint. It can be integrated with your third-party legacy databases using business connectivity services. So you can absolutely tie them into databases and just hand out what's relevant to the audience and keep the data to yourself. With that, let's go to Shared Documents. Okay, so as you can see here, as a sales organization, we've got some documents posted here. Once again, it tells you when was it modified and who modified it, and the contact card follows you everywhere, so it tells you who's available and who's not. So just for the purpose of the demo here, I will go and open this document. I'll say Edit in Microsoft Word. Okay, so just when I get into the document, at the bottom here, a pop-up shows up, and it tells me that 4 people are editing the document. So with SharePoint 2010 and Office 2010 now, we can co-author documents. So I don't have to wait for a team or process to come to me. I can just start working on my portion on my document all by myself, and invite people to kind of edit the document as I'm doing it. So that's co-authoring. That's new with the 2010 release. Just to alleviate any conflicting edits, you can always select document portions and log them for yourself. So let's say you own certain pieces, you can just say, I want to select this portion and just block it for anybody else to author it. So at that point in time, it gets logged for me and nobody else can edit that portion. And right from within my document, if I want to share this file with an internal teammate, I can just simply send it to IM, and it brings up my link line right there, and I can send that link over, so we're editing the same version of the document. You also have versioning control in SharePoint, so as you go about saving these documents, it will create versions for you within SharePoint. So if you have a bad edit, you can go back and correct that. And then you have some saving options. You can save directly to SharePoint, and you have the SharePoint folders mapped to your Office client. So with that, let me exit this, and I will go into my web app. So another option you have within Office 365 is to view and edit documents within a browser, which is Office web app. So for the demo here, I'm going to open up this Excel spreadsheet in the web browser, and once again, as you can see at the bottom, it shows that 3 people are editing the document. So I'm co-authoring, helps make life a lot easier now. If you have, for the case in point, let's say 20 people and you want to manage their pipelines, they can edit their own tabs at the same time in the same sheet, and the dashboard on the main page gets reflected as they go and make their updates. So makes my boss's job a whole lot easier. You can use it for any scenarios that you want, and as people go about making these edits, they will be seeing this simultaneously as a change happens. So with that, I'm going to quickly move into just a little last piece on the document management side here. I can actually sync my SharePoint libraries to my local desktop folder. So I can do a simple SharePoint workspace sync here. Essentially what it will do for me is gives me a folder on my desktop which has a locally synchronized copy of whatever I have on my SharePoint. So I can go about adding new files here, or I can add new folders, drag and drop stuff, and as I go about dropping stuff in here, it goes and uploads it to SharePoint. And now in a case in point, we have a team of 10 people having the same synchronization enabled. As soon as I drop stuff into this folder here, it will essentially push it down to everybody else's desktop as well. So we don't need to log on to site collections or sites every morning. We just come and open a folder, and we have the updated content or updated folders right on our desktop. And you can also use these for offline edits if you want. So if you're doing offline edits on the fly, you log back into the network. It will sync everything back up to the cloud once you're logged in. And a similar process with the calendar as well. So as you can see, I have a SharePoint calendar synced to my Outlook client here. So I've got two calendars. I can have multiple as I want. So the blue one is my primary calendar, and the green is my team calendar, where I can have team events, vacation calendar, or any marketing calendar that I want. I can drag stuff back and forth. So if I want to participate in any event here, I can just drag it here. Or if I want to do it the other way, I can share my event with the team and it gets uploaded to SharePoint. So both ways you can sync it up, and you can have your personal calendar in sync with SharePoint, or you can actually drop stuff into the SharePoint calendar and have the team view your events. So with that, going into the tail end of my SharePoint demo here, so let me show you a different site collection. I'll just give it a second to load. This is again a SharePoint site collection, but just coded or customized to the limits. So I'm going to go to IT Web. And go to dashboards. So as you can see here, I'm loading some data visualizations here once again, which are slicers that are a little more interactive. So once again, you can have your data feed it in from any database that you have out there, and you can share that information. At this point in time, I have slicers, so I'm actually interacting with the data and filtering that out in real time. So I filter it down for Q1 for EMEA only. And I can interact with data using these slicers. The last thing I want to show you is workflows, and I'll just give it a couple of seconds for it to load the form. So what I have here is a typical hardware request form where you can have a requester approver. Just as an example, if you want to automate vacation approval, travel approval, or expense approval requests within the organization, or if you want to get initial information from a customer from a public website, you can publish a form, and once they come and feed in data, you actually get a workflow request within SharePoint. So, the example that I have here is for hardware requests. So, if an employee requests for hardware, if it's under $500, it will just approve it. If it's over $500, it will send it to the approver for an approval. So, you can have workflows built into SharePoint as well. So, that concludes the demonstration portion of today. I will pass it on to Trent to talk about the migration piece, and we'll be happy to take the questions after. In the meanwhile, we'll be answering questions in the chat as well. So, Trent, over to you.
Ashish, thanks so much. Awesome demo. It's always great to see all of the features of Office 365. There's so many, and yeah, thanks. That was very informative. Hi, everyone. My name is Trent. I am Director of Migration Services for a company called SkyKick. We are a trusted Microsoft partner, and what we do and all we do is migrations to Office 365. And hopefully you guys can all see my screen right now. As Ashish said, we'll handle some questions here at the end if you have any questions about Office 365. I know many of you are just starting to think about Office 365. You probably haven't managed to transition to Office 365, certainly. So before we dive deeper on some of SkyKick's technology, we'll just start off by covering, what is an Office 365 migration? What's entailed there? And just simply put, it's moving your business to Office 365, and ideally with as little impact to business as your business as possible. So there are 4 basic things that need to happen in a full migration to Office 365. First, you've got to set up Office 365, and there's some provisioning that occurs depending on how robust of features you want to use with Office 365. Second, there's moving any of your custom domains to Office 365. Technical term for that is DNS redelegation. Thirdly, there's moving the email, calendar, contact data for you and all of your employees. That's the migration piece. And then fourth, we get into some of that SharePoint robustness, getting the documents up into SharePoint and getting those stored in the cloud. Now, an industry best practice is to go ahead and get started with email migration. Email being mission critical for you and all of your employees. It's a very highly impactful transition for you and your team. We've spoken with other Microsoft partners globally, other consulting firms, and everybody agrees typically it's the best move to go ahead and manage the migration of email first. And there's an added benefit to doing that. You actually accomplish setting up Office 365 and moving the custom domain in the process. And so how can you do that? How can you migrate the email and get all of that accomplished? Well, the details of migration, there are basically 5 phases of a smooth transition to Office 365. First, it's a good idea to plan your migration. Then there's the provisioning piece. Thirdly, finally, you get to actually migrating the data. Fourth, just managing the project, because you're not just moving the data, you've also got employees who need to be informed of what they can expect. And finally, there's a setup of everybody's computer once everything's all done, making sure that everyone's computer is set up to work with Office 365. So how can you get all of that done? As you can see, it can add up to a 40-hour project. And not to go into all of these because I know we're running short on time, but just for instance, one of these things that's listed as 1-hour project are just around the DNS changes that need to occur. For an IT professional, that's probably going to add up to about 1 hour of total effort. However, there's going to be a lot of premeditated effort, just making sure that these changes are going to be made in a way that doesn't impact the organization's email flow, website, or any of the other domain-related services that they have with their domains. So as you can see, there's a lot of technical expertise which can either speed up or slow down this process. So your 3 options, you can do it yourself, of course. A lot of companies do that. There's some great online resources that Microsoft provides online, as well as through the Office 365 interface itself, which provide assets for you to transition you and your team to Office 365. The things you want to consider while considering doing it yourself, what sort of IT experience do you have on your team? How much time is this going to take you and your team? And, also to consider is, during that time, what would your team normally be doing, and what's the opportunity cost of doing this yourself? Your second option is to hire a consultant. And things you want to consider when looking at folks like that are, do they have a lot of experience migrating? What is the quality of service that you're going to be getting from them? And then also, how long is it going to take them from the point where you hire them to having your team migrated to Office 365? Also, how much effort is that going to take for you and your management to kind of oversee the consultants and their effort and make sure everything's going smoothly? The third option you've got is to leverage technology. And what you want to consider when looking at technological solutions to migration is you want to consider the robustness of the solution. What's included with that technology? How many of these steps does the technology solution actually take care of? What sort of experience, how many accolades does that technology have? What are some of the reviews, things like that. And then you're obviously going to want to take a look at the time cost savings as well. So obviously SkyKick falls under the third category. What we've done is not just data migration automation. We are the total migration project automation. It's a fully automated migration application and service that enables you to plan, provision, move, set up, and manage your email migration to Office 365. So we basically take a 40-hour consulting project, and it takes about 10 minutes of your time. There's no IT experience required, just a couple easy questions, and you're on your way. Our technology works with any on-premise or hosted email service that uses one of the major email protocols, POP, IMAP, Exchange, etc. For our technology, we were honored to receive 2012 Microsoft Innovation Partner of the Year Award finalist. We were alongside Accenture, one of the big partners as well that does a lot of Office 365 assistance, and we moved thousands of small to medium-sized businesses to Office 365 in 2012, and we're well on our way already in 2013. So again, we've got a 40-hour consulting project, and what SkyKick does is there are three basic steps. One is you plan your migration. You go to skykick.com, and what you do is call your direct dial representative, and they would basically help you plan your migration to Office 365. A lot of technology working in the background to really make that super simple. We'll take a look at that in a second. Once your migration date is set, you simply we start syncing your data immediately, as well as communicating your team that there's going to be some change going on, that you're getting Office 365. And again, we've done thousands of these, and so we know how to communicate clearly and effectively to your team to manage the project of transitioning to Office 365. The sync technology is designed and optimized to provide a seamless, zero downtime transition to Office 365 by not only all of your data in the process, but also doing all of the DNS work automatedly, removing not only the effort, but also the possibility of human error as well. And third, after the move, after all the data is set up and at the migration date, the SkyKick Outlook Assistant simply pops up on all of your users' computers and informs them that it is the migration time, and it gets their computer set up to work with Office 365. So rather than just tell you about it, at this point, I would normally launch into a demo. I know we're running short on time, so at this point, I can just provide more of a screenshot of what you can expect when you're going to skykick.com.
Okay. Or Trent?
Yes.
This is Bill speaking now. And we still have quite a few attendees that are available. How much more time would you like to take?
I certainly wouldn't go over 10 minutes, I don't think.
I'm going to say, based on the fact that we still have quite a few people that are still with us, I think I might recommend taking that 10 minutes because I think it's very valuable.
Okay, well, I'm not going to argue with that, Bill.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, we really pride ourselves on making this super, super simple. So basically, again, these 3 steps, we've got planning, and then moving, syncing the data, and then finally set up. So the first step would just be planning, and you simply call a direct dial representative. And what they're going to do is go to SkyKick.com. All right. So here is our website, and you'll notice not a whole lot of things to do here. One thing to do, and that's plan a migration to Office 365. And so what our online tool does here is it's a very simple interface which is going to do a lot of work in the background so that we're asking not only the right questions, but we're only asking the questions that we absolutely need to. And it all starts simply with an email address. And so let's say the CEO is on the phone. We get the CEO's email address, ceo@skykickdemo1.com. Ask him how many users he thinks are going to be migrating to Office 365. And then right here, right away, we can see available migration dates. So we can move as soon as this Monday. Fridays are a very popular migration date as well. We'll go ahead and choose Friday here, and then just click Start. Now, while we're waiting for our system, we basically are doing a lot of really technical work in the background to save us from having to ask too many questions. And so with just that email address, we were able to detect, oh, this particular customer is coming from Google. They use Google for their email right now, and their domain registrar for that email address for their domain is at GoDaddy. So that's going to come in handy a little bit later. So here we would simply input, some basic information. And what we're going to see after this step is we're just going to ask for username and password here. And with this information, we're doing a very, very dynamic migration planning right now. Right away, we're going to really start to customize a migration plan for this person. And first and foremost, we're going to ask them if they've already created an Office 365 account that they would like to migrate to. If so, we're just going to get login credentials to that environment. If not, that's fine too. Our technology will take care of provisioning the account. We simply need to know what country you would like it to be located in. From here, we just click Next Step. And this step is where we usually get a really big, oh, wow. In just a few seconds, what we've done is we've reached out to Google, and we've done a few things. We have detected all of the user info. So when the CEO indicated on the first page that he thought that there were 10 mailboxes, we actually detected 12 in his Google account. And so this may have reminded him of a few people that he forgot about, or also any old email addresses that he might want to actually migrate some of that data from. And so right away, we're doing a lot of saving between, them having to indicate what email addresses they want to move to Office 365. We've pre-populated them here. Additionally, we haven't only detected the email addresses, but our system has done a diagnostic of certain email rules. And what we've done is normalize them into a format that Office 365 understands. This particular customer came from Google, but our system is compatible with over 10,000 email hosters across the globe. And there are many different email systems and many different ways to define business rules. But the way Office 365 does it is there are certain features like aliasing. So here for Larry.page, we detected 2 aliases. All right, Larry and info. Okay. Now, what an alias is, right here we've got a tooltip. It's simply a nickname for your email address. And this may have been defined in your previous email environment as email forwarding or something like that. What SkyKick system does is it translates your current email environment to how your email environment is going to be in Office 365. So that's a hugely valuable tool. Additionally, right here, we can start to customize the Office 365 account that we're migrating to by choosing the individual Office 365 licenses on a user-by-user basis. So there's no more guesswork in guessing approximately how many licenses you're going to need for E3, E1, and the different plans. Right here, we've got some of the more popular plans, and right here, you've got a little reminder of what is included in the different plans. And again, we can answer questions about the different licensing here at the end. But what this allows us to do is start to see right away what the total cost per month is going to be to Microsoft. And, you know, we're flipping back and forth between screens. We're doing it right here in the same place that we're selecting mailboxes. Now, additionally, this is a pretty clean interface, but actually there's some deeply robust capability here. Let's say Kelly Carlson is no longer with the company. And so I'm on the phone with the CEO, and he says, you know what, we don't need to migrate her. She's not going to need Office 365 licensing. We just remove her here, removes the Office 365 licensing, and we can go into something we endearingly call fancy mode. Let's say CEO says, you know what, Kelly has some emails that we still would like to migrate, but she's not going to be a licensed user in Office 365. Well, simply clicking on fancy mode, what we've done is separated the future mail flow from the migration options for the current existing data. So here we're deleting her as a user, but we can indicate we do want to migrate the data. To maybe the CEO's email account. And so there's a lot of robustness here. Additionally, we've detected distribution groups as well as the membership. Saving you tons of time, you know, that can take hours, you know, all the members of distribution groups. And also we detect any shared mailboxes that you have. And finally, you can add any additional domains you'd like to be associated in your Office 365 tenant. And simply clicking on Next Step, we get a nice customized assessment of what the total cost is going to be. So we've got the SkyKick migration fee here through Direct Dial. The normal price is $120 per user, and I think Bill actually has a promotion running for anybody in today's webinar who's still with us, so I definitely want to stick around until the end. And it's also going to show us what the recurring amount is going to be based on the Office 365 licensing that we chose. All right, we can choose a billing method right here, and then simply provide your credit card information, and we're on our way. Now, once you have your billing information in place, there's simply a button saying, okay, we're ready to go. Let's go ahead and notify my team. As we recall, SkyKick does manage change for your users as well. And so once you complete your migration planning there and you've got all your mailboxes selected, you simply click a button to notify your team, and SkyKick sends everybody an email, just introducing them to what is going on. Exciting news. Your company's email is getting switched to Office 365, and they've chosen SkyKick to help with the transition. And simply, they will be provided just some idea of what to expect, as well as a brief description on what Office 365 is. But their call to action is very clear here. Just with the Start button, they will be taken to a SkyKick page where they will simply be prompted to provide us their email address and their password so that we can migrate their data, as well as any other personal information that they'd like to be set up in their Office 365 account. Once they submit that information, right here on day one, they're prompted to download the SkyKick Outlook Assistant, which once they download, and it's about 15 megs is all, it takes about 30 seconds max to download. It's just a quick little download. It'll tell them their setup is complete. And then what's going to happen is it's just going to lay idle here in their system tray, down here, out of sight, out of mind, until the migration date that you had selected pops up. And at that time, it's going to indicate that their email migration begins in 5 minutes. Now, what they don't know is that SkyKick's technology is actually pre-migrated 99% of their data So once they click Migrate Now, we'd actually just be migrating 1% approximately of their data, and also updating any of the data that they had altered since we had initially migrated their data. And so you can imagine just, no more going computer to computer, setting up everybody's Outlook to work with Office 365. No more downloading the Office 365 download utility. Basically, everything just works. They get a pop-up. They can delay it 10 minutes. Just clear messaging all along the way for the end users. And so that's really the spirit of what SkyKick does. Obviously, in the background, we've got some really advanced migration technology, which has successfully and seamlessly migrated thousands of companies to Office 365. You can read reviews about SkyKick by going to Microsoft's Pinpoint, where partners around the world are reviewed by their customers. And I thank you for listening to my demo. Hopefully it gives you a good idea of migrating to Office 365. So whether you decide to do it yourself, hire a consultant, or to use SkyKick's automated solutions from Direct Dial, we wish you the best. And do know that it is worth it. SkyKick, as a company, we do use Office 365. We've been on it ever since beta for about 2.5 years, and we're loving it. So with that, we'll turn it back over to Bill. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Trent. That was excellent demo. I think in a very short period of time, that 10 minutes, you covered a lot of ground, and I'm expecting that there'll be some questions on that. Now, we're just waiting for maybe our closing slide to show up. Again, I would really like to thank everybody that has hung in here, and we did go a little bit over. We did have a few challenges to start out. I do appreciate everybody's patience. My information is up there, my email address, my extension. Please do give me a call if you have any questions, concerns, anything that you would like to share with me. I would also like to point to what we're calling our attendee special. Just should people be wanting to actually activate their Exchange or their email, more accurately, to the cloud, to Office 365. And maybe I would just open it up. Are there any questions that people might have?
So we'll take all the questions through chat, and I know there are a few for SkyKick. So Trent and I will go about answering those questions as we get them.
Okay.
Since the lines are muted for attendees, so we'll just take questions through chat at this point in time.
Yep. No, that's great, and maybe I should have been specific about that. Now, one thing that I did fail to mention is that we will be doing our draw for all the attendees, where it's a Lenovo tablet that we will be doing draw for all the attendees of the webinar today. Also, we have our Microsoft Direct Dial or Direct Cloud T-shirt that we will be sending out to everybody as well. Thanks for reminding me, Catherine. Catherine just whispered in my ear. Thank you. Okay, we're on our screen. Right now at this time, Ashish, we're not seeing the chat space. So are we seeing some questions, or are people asking some questions at this time?
Yes, there are. So there's a question for revisions on SharePoint. There is a limit on space you can use as more revisions. So as you create more versions on SharePoint, it's very minimal space that it's using. So it's not, it's not consuming. It's not a full physical copy of that release. So you can't limit it, but you can limit what you can do. Limit it as saying, every 5 versions, revert back, or purge the oldest version. So you can, say just keep the previous 5 or previous 2 or previous 10. So you can manage it via that. For Canadian businesses, if you have cloud storage in Canada, unfortunately, no, it is in the talks. The reason being because if Microsoft does have a data center here in Canada, since it talks to the U.S. data center, it will still virtually be a part of, data on the U.S. soil. So it doesn't alleviate the Patriot Act constraints or concerns for customers. So because Office 365 is a geo-redundant offering, the idea is if your data centers go down in U.S., the 3 in the U.S. and then in Ireland and worldwide. So the idea is when you host it with Office 365, basically your data is replicated all around the world. So if disaster was to happen, like the hurricane we got a few weeks ago, you'd be up and running from a data center in Ireland or somewhere in Europe. Will it support third-party software such as QuickBooks? The answer is depends on what kind of integration you're looking at. So if you're looking at plugins that plug into your Outlook, absolutely. If QuickBooks can talk TLS or has an Outlook plugin to connect or send out automated emails, yes. However, I would suggest whenever you're migrating to test those options using a trial. Once again, you can sign up for a trial at the Direct Dial website, and because third-party applications are supported if you have a TLS encryption built into them. So that's something you probably want to test out before you go, but the answer is if it talks TLS, it can work. And then there were some SkyKick questions. Does SkyKick support migration from Lotus Notes? Trent, I'll have you take that one.
Yeah, Lotus Notes unfortunately is not supported at this time. So yeah, we do POP, IMAP, Exchange, a number of on-premise servers, small business server, but unfortunately no Lotus Notes at this time, but maybe in the future. See another question. Can SkyKick help us as we do a trial of Office 365? We have many features to test before we commit. So that's the great thing about Office 365. You can schedule an email migration, and from that very moment, we'll begin to migrate your data into Office 365 in temporary email addresses. So if your migration was scheduled 2 weeks out, you would actually have live mailboxes to use and to test Office 365 with. Additionally, if you already had signed up for an Office 365 trial, you can simply give us that information while planning your migration, and we will migrate your data into that Office 365 tenant. Let's see.
So the question is it needs to create a data backup from cloud? If you are looking to create a backup for your email infrastructure, you will have your OST folder residing on your local machine, so you can back that up. For your SharePoint, once again, if you're syncing your SharePoint to a network drive, which you can sync using SharePoint Workspace, or there's a tool called SyncToy. It's a free tool from Microsoft. If it's syncing data back to your network drives, you can back up the network drives and back it up.
Okay, I see a question from Bill Ellis, who says, as an Office 365 reseller himself, how can he use the SkyKick services but get credit to his Microsoft account? So SkyKick actually does have a partner program where you can sign up to place orders for your customers to migrate to Office 365 using SkyKick technology. That would basically allow you to log into a partner portal at skykick.com where you can manage all of your migrations currently going. And if signed up as a partner is free, and it's a great way for you to scale your cloud business. And additionally, you do get POR and credit for migrating those customers to Office 365. So currently, our partner program is by invitation. It's still in its beta as far as the portal interface online. So if that's something you'd be interested in, Bill, I encourage you to definitely give me a call directly. And my number is on the Direct Dial website.
Hey, so I have a question. How does Office 365 work with compliance initiatives such as PCI? Really bread and butter for Microsoft here is helping or achieving those certifications. So maybe HIPAA or any certs that are required with financial or any industries. Just to let you know, the security policies or the security practices Microsoft has in place, it does hit most of those out there. If you have questions on specific certifications, you can reach out to your direct dial representative, and I will be happy to answer those for you. Or you can do a quick search for Office 365 service descriptions. It will be a list of documents, and you want to look at the security service description that will outline all the certs that they hit. But in most cases, it is compliant with most of the standards out there.
Okay, I see another question. Andrew writes, I can see SkyKick working well for small migrations. What is the largest migration we've performed? We've performed a migration of about 200 users. And we're really not limited by the number of users. It's just what our technology actually automates. Once you start to get into bigger organizations and hybrid deployments, there are just certain aspects of our technology which aren't yet automated. And so because of that, we do focus on smaller businesses. We can certainly do a migration of 500, 1,000, as long as the migration scenario you're choosing is a relatively straightforward one. When you start getting into Active Directory settings and things like that, our technology does not automate that piece yet. So it's not to say we're not compatible with that sort of migration. It's just not fully automated yet.
Okay, so there's a question.
SkyKick, Office 365 have a rollback plan, just in case. That's a great thing about Office 365. It is month to month. And one of the advantages, again, going with SkyKick is that you can plan your migration for, I believe, up to about 6 weeks out. During that time, we would have actually already migrated a lot of your data to Office 365 so that you can, sample the Office 365 features with actual live email accounts that are populated with data. Makes it a lot easier to demo an Office 365 account when you've actually got your data there. So as far as a rollback plan, at this time we don't have a way to demigrate or migrate your data elsewhere afterwards. But certainly, if Office 365 was something that if it's something that you were interested in trialing and then weren't interested in, the good news is that with SkyKick, you wouldn't necessarily be fully deployed to Office 365 yet. And is there anything you'd like to add to that, Ashish?
Well, yeah, so from a 365 perspective or from a Microsoft perspective, there are tools available from Microsoft to move back and forth. So if you do want to move back, SkyKick or there are other tools that, that can support those moves back and forth for you. So, however, my, again, recommendation would be to, before you really get into moving your data, if you want, you can test a few things with the test domain in there, and that should give you enough to run with and make sure if it's the right fit for you or not.
Yep. I see Pierre asking, if you migrate my data during the trial, is the data in both places during this time? Yes. So whenever SkyKick is migrating, we're merely copying data from one place to another. We're not removing it from one place and moving it to the other. So that's a great question. But keep in mind, your actual email address is only active in one place at a time with the way SkyKick does migration.
Okay, so there's some questions on security. From a security perspective, Microsoft hits the SAS 7 Type 2 security measures, which is the highest level of cert, which is required by banking, banking institutions for the data centers. So there are layers and layers of security, and if you want, there's deep dive documentation available. Your data is logically separated from all other tenants. All the communication is encrypted, and that's the reason why what we call this service is highly configurable, not highly customizable, because there's a lot of security that goes into place. That's the bread and butter for Microsoft, to make sure data is secure and up and running. So by all means, if you have any specific security questions as to how many layers and what kind, and how the communication works, or how the transport of data works, I'll be happy to provide you with documentation on a different call with a direct dial representative. Well, Office 360, Office 2003 to Office 365, Office data. I'd like to bring into the picture Office 2013 at this point in time. If you are contemplating a move to Office 365, there's a good chance you would start up with Office 2013, since that is 3 weeks away for release. And there is a tool, actually for the very first time, you can actually run Office 2013 with an older Office application installed on your desktop. So if you want, you can run both together. You have a telemetry dashboard or a tool that you can install. Essentially, it's a server-client architecture. It will actually give you a report on issues the users might have had across the organization with certain files. So it will give you statistics around what files are having issues with manipulation, or if they have any issues, with the data integrity within those files. So you can have a good view into the dashboard, and you can have both Office applications coexist at that point in time. Just don't use the Outlook client from both. Just use Outlook from any one of them. Outside of Outlook, you can use the Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and you can, if you're in a migration phase from Office 2003 to 2013, the telemetry dashboard would give you enough insight into your organization as to what files are having fidelity issues with the previous data.